He really is the subject matter expert on Mulla Krekar and knows more about him than almost anybody here. Raj, how would you boil down Mulla Krekar's philosophy and his preachings?
Jihad by any means necessary. Mulla Krekar first met bin Laden in the late 80s. Mulla Krekar was very impressed. He was overwhelmed. He called him the crown jewel of Islam. And there was a pact made between Krekar and bin Laden to help him out in the future, to provide weapons, to provide training, to provide funds. Krekar introduced bomb-making experts to Al-Qaeda, and not the other way around.
He's preached against Americans as well, hasn't he?
Yes. He is not saddened by the death of Americans. He calls it the glorious act of jihad. Anybody that's against his ideology, he wants them dead.
At what point did he start killing people?
It comes to the question, do people kill people or do guns kill people? Of course, people kill people, and the gun is the tool they use. Krekar, his tongue is his weapon. The first suicide bombings that took place in Kurdistan was encouraged by Mulla Krekar. The first international Arabs to come into Iraqi Kurdistan were sponsored by Mulla Krekar. The first IED to go off in Kurdistan were all Mulla Krekar's doing.
Why would a progressive country like Norway protect Mulla Krekar, it seems?
From what we heard, they believe that maybe Krekar will not be given a fair trial. Maybe he'll be hurt. Maybe he'll be tortured. These are some of the excuses they use. But we have to understand Iraqi Kurdistan is modeled after the U.S. justice system. It's one of the only places in the Middle East you are innocent until you are proven guilty. He's hiding under a set of laws, this very same laws that is supposed to protect the innocent.
Most Americans, and I'm sure a lot of Europeans, have never heard of Mulla Krekar or Ansar al-Islam.
Exactly. Who heard of Osama bin Laden before 1982? That's the problem, because nobody knows about him. That's why he's so dangerous. Not only do I think he's a threat to Americans abroad, I think he has the potential to be a threat to Americans inside America.
The people we're going after, these aren't guys who stole 20 bucks out of the register. These are people who are allegedly coordinating attacks around the world, responsible for hundreds, possibly thousands of deaths. And the person that we're surveilling here is Mulla Krekar.
Possible relative leaving the target building.
Typically on targets, they leave the house, they go to work. This guy is unemployed, and apparently he doesn't like to go out very often. The thing that keeps me focused is I want to get this guy. I mean, we come around the world. So a 6-hour stakeout, a 12-hour stakeout, you have to really focus and use some discipline.
Surveillance is not fun. It's not like you see on TV. We're in a dressed-out vehicle, totally darked out. You're sitting in the back. Literally hours are going by. You're trying to maintain focus on a target. You're trying to make sure that no one is eyeballing your vehicle. It's a sweat box. You can't crack the windows. How do you overcome being tired, hungry, bored, hot, cold? You focus on the mission. That's it.
General, can you tell me a little bit about Mulla Krekar?
أتوانين إما ليرة نايبنين أسامة بن لادن دوهم كسي كي تيرو جورة تيرورستاني شان نكر تيرورستي كي بشكولني يعني كسي كي بصدني خلتان رابع وكوبيا متنيشة قال قيادية كاني قاعدة.
Why are you saying he was an Al-Qaeda leader? I thought he was just the leader of Ansar al-Islam.
نعم من بيتلم لبروي أو لسالي نوهشتا لباكستان أسامة بن لادن يبينيوه.
When Mulla Krekar was asked about his relationship with Osama bin Laden, he said it was totally innocent, that they had met and all they discussed were orphans.
الليلة لكردستان كومال منالي دروس كردبو لو سنوريك دا صلاتي خوين بسراك أشكايا ولا منطقي بيارا هموي بفكري خوي درسي بيوتن دروسي بيوتن دروسي جهادي بيوتن أما دي أكردن بويكا لأيندا وان ليبيا باور بوان بينو بوي خوام تقينو.
Did any of them carry out attacks?
چەند کەسێ خۆی تەقانەوە لە کوردستانە لێرە.
What kind of attacks has Mulla Krekar promoted or encouraged or facilitated or financed?
هەر هەمووی فکری خەڵکی تێگەیە.
So you're telling me he was brainwashing these people?
ئێمە بەڵگەمان لە بەڕسمەوە کە قسە بۆ خەڵکەکە لە مزگەوتەکان هەمووی ئەگرین لە لەو قسانەی کە بۆ یەکەن ینی خواخوایانە زوو جیهادکەن و بڕۆن.
Do you still consider him a threat?
بەتاکید.
Has he continued to engage in terror finance?
بەتاکید.
Do the Norwegians know this?
بە سیدیەکانی بە شریتی بە بڕیاری دادوەر و بە ئیفادەی ئەوانی کە لە بەردەمی حاکمی ئێمە ئیفادەیان ناوە لەسەر مەلا کرێکار.
What would you say to the Norwegian officials who worry that if Mulla Krekar was sent back here that he'd be tortured or killed?
ئەتوانم بۆ وعدەیەم حەزەکەی چ مەسئولێکی نەرویجیە نێ پرۆتۆکۆلی لەگەڵ اتفاقی لەگەڵ.
Would you be willing to write out some sort of statement?
دەجارێ بۆ نووسم. مەسەلەی تەعزیب دڵنیا بن نیشتیوە.
Speak to me.
I'm moving into the target area. I'm going to set up the camera.
Well, good luck.
All right, out.
Out. We settled on a plan that Glenn suggested, which was, we get the little HD cameras and set it up across the courtyard and just let it record.
We still hadn't gotten any eyes on this guy, so we started to press a little harder, probing into the compound itself, setting up surveillance from within the compound. It's not the kind of guy you can just swing through town on and in 48 hours get live video footage. We had to understand how we were going to get our surveillance equipment in place to get a shot of this guy.
I think the majority of the Norwegian public are very frustrated. We have a central person called Mulla Krekar, who's a known terrorist. In fact, I called him a terrorist once in the public, and he sued me for libel, and I won. But he's walking around freely. He can't be extradited, the government is saying, because we have signed conventions that we will not extradite people to nations which in fact are practicing the death penalty. So if, for instance, bin Laden came to Norway and the United States wanted to have him, we would not be able to send him to the United States because he have the risk of the death penalty. As long as the death penalty is in the system, anyone coming to Norway is safe, and that is, to me, ludicrous. My interest as a Norwegian politician is for the Norwegian public.
What has to happen to change the situation in Norway?
Get the government to say, well, we view the risk of Mulla Krekar getting the death penalty in Iraq so low that we are returning him.
And he'd be returned for a fair and open trial?
Yes.
One of our team is in Kurdistan today, and he's received assurance from an Iraqi judge, which the judge says he will provide in the written form that Mulla Krekar will not be subjected to execution or torture. Will this make a difference?
Well, yes, it would make a difference because it would give me very, very strong argument against the government. Why are you not sending him back? Why are you not talking to this judge? Why are you not listening to what the Iraqis themselves are saying?
A couple of hours ago, we got a call from the general saying that he was sending an emissary with a letter in which he promises that Iraq will not torture or kill Mulla Krekar in the event he's extradited here.